Nigga, I was a beast at eating pussy in like '99. When you be in a sniper position, you be in a sniper position.
You eat it in the sniper position?
When you be eating the monkey in a sniper position.
I'm not old enough to be comfortable enough talking about that shit.
I'm gonna start a series of like part beat tutorial, part just like general my beat journey. That sounds so stupid, but I want to start with something, you know, like J Dilla and how everybody's beat making stuff should start. I go to like Tracklib. I just watch one of these and like I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
It has come to our attention that a mysterious force is loose somewhere.
Then after I watched like 30 minutes of Tracklib or what's the guy's name? Narox. I don't know how to pronounce it. After I watch like 30 minutes of these people, I go over to Tracklib. I don't get all of my samples from here, but I get most of them from here. This time I was looking for some piano like JIDs working out. So I was searching around the 60s era. I just typed in piano to this search, and then this came up. I think it's this one. People are afraid of copyright, but I don't actually believe that they care enough for this kind of stuff, but whatever. So then, usually, what you're supposed to do, this is the first tip of today. Listen to everything all the way through. I didn't do that. Let me see if I can find it. And I really just listened to like this first half, and then I stopped. But when you're starting out, listen to everything all the way through. If you want to be extra, listen to it backwards as well, because reverse samples I love reverse samples. You never want to miss out on something like that. And basically, as I went, what you want to do first is you want to look for loops, because that's like an easy beat, just getting a loop out. But I couldn't find anything with this. Everything was like very odd. I mean, that's like okay, but it's not that interesting. I mean, this is a very sampleable track since it's just like freestyle piano. Whatever the word for that is. So I got my markers out here and I bound them to keys on my keyboard. I think the keys on the keyboard, it's C4, just the octave. I think the octave of C4. So I can play this with my keyboard. And I found this loop initially, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds nice." And I just went out developing it to make it. I could totally just extend this to fill the measure, but it's just, oh my god, what just happened? It's just less interesting. And also the beep at the end signifies a nice like next bar now. This one is gonna be the most sanitized out of all the videos, but this breakdown, I went through like a lot of variants of this. The only real things that stay were this, because that sounds good already. What I recommend if you're just starting out with chopping, if it's like soul stuff especially, you could totally just do half steps like this and just like go up, and it'll sound good. So let me actually just see. I don't think it's gonna work with this, but yeah, it doesn't work with this one because it's a little different, and I didn't chop to fourths. I just chopped randomly. You can see these are some of the worst chops ever. None of these hit transients. I just like randomly went around. That doesn't add anything. Don't do that. I guess it makes it a little looser, but it just doesn't add anything. I don't recommend doing that. But another thing that I do is reverse steps, if that makes sense. So you go 6-5, and then it would go 4-3. And that doesn't work very well either, so that's not a good example, but eventually I'll find a good example. And I always think that other producers, like, you want to continue your chop as much as possible, and there's always stuff that gets cut off, so I have just like this bar. It just goes on forever. I couldn't really find, I just knew that sounded good, but I couldn't find a place for it, so it eventually became my intro, which I'll get into later. But just as an example, I have this beat over here where I have my normal chop, which sounds good, but then it keeps going. So originally the chop was like this. And the chop is complex enough where you don't really need variation on it to make it exciting, but I did add variation. There's this right here. From way at the end, I just cut that little snippet off and added it to the end. And also what's great about that is a really easy way to find a little snippet for variation if you're just like doing a quick glance of everything. Look for drum rolls, because those always, some people are against drum rolls. I understand that because the drum's interfering, but I like how they work, especially in like songs like A Lot and some J. Cole stuff. A second ago about the reverse steps, kind of stuff like this. That's not reverse. These are just are these quarter or eighth steps? I don't know. I can't count. But it's just like small steps. And I think that makes for a really fun instrumental. But we're not going over this one. We have a different thing to do. So originally with my beat, I had a different drum loop. It was this kick. It was a very simple drum beat. Kick, kick, hats, then a snare, which was this rim right here. So very simple. Then I actually went to remove these hats. I just prefer the sounds of this. I'm using rims because snares are a bit more bombastic, for lack of a better term, and the beat was a little low key, and everything was in lower frequencies. I don't know anything about science or nothing, but I know that the rim sounds good on this electric keyboard. So I switched out the hats because it's good to try out different drums for different things, and keeping in the two-step sounds really nice. Actually, I want to see if I can layer these. Nah, that's dumb. Okay, so then this became the next drum loop. Can I delete this? Okay, and then I created the next drum loop, which was hats. Let's see the kick. The kick's a bit more complicated. It's still the kick on the first, and then you have a triple kick right after the hat. That's a build up. We have the velocity turned down, so it goes up. And then you have this kick right here, which swings into the snare, which I'll show you in a second. And then it just keeps going. So then you have, sorry, I don't want to spoil the beat for you, but, and the rim is just a little bit ahead, just a smidge forward. But this is how it works together. Yeah, you can see right there is the click up. So what I did, this beat was inspired by Jealousy by Slum Village. Just stuff that like sounds like it's like synth being played, dun dun dun, right? I actually just learned that this isn't actually anything crazy. This is one of Dilla's easier beats. But you can see it's just a pitch down, slow down version of this, where it sounds like it's synth samples being played out. But I wanted to do that with negative. I want to work with negative space because there was this guy on something that said producers know about negative space, and I was like, I want to learn about negative space. So let me just play my final chop just to show you what I had. And then it loops back around. So then we have our chop here. So this is a very easy way to add variation to the beat, because by hiding most of it from the listener, and this is a way where it doesn't sound weird, especially with the build up kick. It fills in that empty space, but doing this allows you to build it up. So then when the full sample plays, like these 3 repeating measures, 6, I don't know. When this plays, it feels new, and then when you take it away again, you already have variation without having to do anything crazy. Variation is very important when you're just making beats, because there's no rapper to fill in to make it less repetitive. You know, there's no words that you're hearing and having to think about. To make, since this is you know how, I don't know how the word for it, but how this sounds. I decided to add some ducking, or I don't know, sidechaining. And the sidechaining is kind of serious. It takes out most of it. With the original video, I actually watched the tutorial for this in the video. But if I can go over it quickly, I just created a new channel for Fruity Limiter. Then I piped in my kick, and then I piped in my synths into it. There's a keyboard, electric keyboard. I just piped it in. And then I did right-click sidechain to my kick. And then I just lowered the threshold, raised the knee, raised the ratio. That's the quickest way I can do it. So then for composition, I think that's the right word. I first have the beat playing normally with the empty spaces. The second measure, I introduce the end of the first loop without the hats. Then bring the hats back in. And then as it goes on, I just strip it out a little bit more with introducing the full beat. Then I just loop it around in circles. I actually have to create an outro really quickly. I'm thinking here I can just do a big reverb. So what is this set to? 2. So on 2 we'll add, I wish I had plugins, but I don't. Large Hall. And then can we create automation clip? Create automation clip. If you're a pro, you do a smaller one, but I'm not. I'm an idiot. This. So it's gonna be turning on reverb for the end. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's nice. And I don't know if this is gonna help the length of it. So yeah, now's the time to mention it with the beginning. With that beginning chop that I found, I ended up just putting it here because I think it works as an intro. It's not the smoothest intro, I will admit, but I need an intro. I can't just start it. I recommend either doing the intro of the actual sample, or the section that goes into your sample, or the outro of your sample if you are sampling stuff and you want to have an intro for your beat. But I think that's it.